It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect, and I'm into this game, yeah, I'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center, here in Salt Lake City, Utah, folks. What a night. It is going to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Early on the top, right hand from my boy, double jab.
Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
80 seconds remaining.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
Hello and welcome to a Wednesday Live right here on the early line on SportsGrid and all across that SportsGrid network. It includes sportsgrid.com/watch, where you can find your favorite destination to consume everything all across the grid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. We are here together for the next 3 hours on the early line up until 11 a.m. Eastern time. We'll go all around the National Football League. Some huge injury updates from a Tuesday afternoon in training camp pertaining to one rookie quarterback in Minnesota. We'll break down what is at stake for J.J. McCarthy entering his rookie campaign and some other injury news around the NFL. The Brandon Ayuk saga takes another turn, another day in Major League Baseball, a full Tuesday slate in the hunt for October. All of that and plenty more. Live right here on the early line on this Wednesday on SportsGrid.
Week 2 of the preseason, or should I say week number 2, with most people are in 2. Some teams are in week number 3, but we are looking forward to some of these young rookie quarterbacks that will get to injuries, not injuries. Will they be starters? But more importantly, how's this going to play out into the regular season? I can't wait to talk about this Brandon Ayuk situation, because if you are another team outside the 49ers, you are looking like a fool for doing all of the dirty work right now for the Niners just to have Ayuk back in their own camp and ready for the 2024 season.
Yeah, it has taken another turn, as I mentioned. It's an interesting development. We'll get there in just a second. But we start with the bad news and the bad break in Minneapolis for the rookie quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. After a stellar performance in his NFL preseason debut on Saturday afternoon in Minnesota, at some point during the game, although not evident during the actual preseason contest, J.J. McCarthy injured his knee. He has been diagnosed with a torn meniscus. He will undergo surgery. Kevin O'Connell, head coach in Minnesota, telling reporters yesterday that depending on the surgery, while J.J. McCarthy is under the knife, it will either be a trimming of the meniscus, which means he can return at some point in the 2024 NFL season, or it could be a full repair that would sideline J.J. McCarthy more than likely for the entirety of his rookie season.
Yeah, that's a shame, because we had some promising looks here in that first preseason game as if he could be able to take the bull by the horns and be the starting quarterback day number 1, should I say game number 1 in the 2024 season. This is a shame because you don't want to rush him back, but if there's any silver lining, Ben, that you could take a look at this injury, it wasn't Super Bowl or bust for the Minnesota Vikings. Maybe you take it slow, and really, maybe if it was a season where it's like, you know what, we're going for it right now, the quarterback might say, you know what, if there's anything you could do to repair this knee to get me on the field by week number 4, let's do it. If there is a need to repair that knee fully, Go ahead and do that. He's a young kid. He's got a long career ahead of him. He's still in the NFL, learning on the sideline, taking those mental reps. But this is a devastating blow to Minnesota and their fans. You wanted to see the kid play because the promise there coming into it is your franchise guy. That's all any franchise fans look forward to. It's a shame he got injured and innocuous as well, too. We didn't even see where it happened at all. Still finished the game and just said, hey, coach, my knee is a little bit sore. Turns out to be this.
Reported the soreness on Monday following the game when they showed back up to training camp and in the facility. In that opener against the Las Vegas Raiders, 11 of 17, 188 yards, 2 touchdown tosses, and an INT. He played 6 possessions for Minnesota. Plenty more on the Vikings' outlook, what this means in Minneapolis in the quarterback room. Say hello to Sam Darnold. Another turn in the saga that has been Brandon Ayuk's battle with San Francisco. Of course, formally requesting a trade. The 49ers said, nah, we're not going to trade you, Brandon. And then they opened up trade discussions, where here's the update as of this moment. The Pittsburgh Steelers in the running have a trade package out there for Brandon Ayuk that San Francisco could be interested in and has the contract in place if Ayuk makes his way to the Steel City. But the Niners themselves have a new contract offer out to Brandon Ayuk that he has not signed just yet. Donnie, what do you make of the situation in San Francisco with Brandon Ayuk?
It's pretty evident. And I could be wrong on this, but just watching the way it's played out here, he's been unhappy with San Francisco for months and months and months and months. I want to trade. So a few teams come in. Compensation is agreed to with the 49ers. He likes what he hears. It's substantially more than the 49ers, but days go by with no answer from Brandon Ayuk. Typically what would happen there, Ben, the 49ers say, here's the amount of dollars I'm willing to offer you. The Steelers come in and basically give you more money. The next plane out of San Francisco to Pittsburgh, you should be on that. But he's not there. Why? He wants to be a 49er. It's a better situation to be a 49er. He just wants more money out of the Niners and using the other NFL teams right now as pawns in order to get that offer raised for the San Francisco 49ers. To me, that's where it sits right now.
We asked the public, what team do you think Brandon Ayuk ends up on in the 2024 NFL season? Early returns say the 49ers. I would have to agree. Injury news for some rooks for the New York Giants. Tyrone Tracy out of Purdue, a promising young running back who was involved in kick return, at least the schematics early on for the New York Giants. Carted off yesterday in an air cast with a non-contact injury. Never a good sign. Malik Neighbors, who is dealing with an ankle injury, the severity we're not entirely sure of for the G-men, told the media yesterday that no doubt he will be ready for week number 1.
Yeah, by the way, that Neighbors injury, he should be fine. But that I think we got an update on the Tracy injury, like carted off the field in an air cast only to be fine a little bit later, and it's no big deal as a low ankle sprain, I'm led to believe at this point. So interesting times there where you worry about over precautions, taking him off the field. Looks like the season's done. It looks like he just might be back in a couple of days, apparently.
Well, that's good news for the New York Giants then, and the kick return team, of course, with the new dynamic kickoff around the National Football League. As we stay in New York, the Yankees on the south side of Chicago, after getting walloped by 10 runs earlier this week against the White Sox, they bounced back last night on a Tuesday, a 4-1 victory. All 4 runs accounted for by Juan Soto, courtesy of 3 home runs. The first 3 home run game of Juan Soto's career leads the Yankees back atop the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah, welcome back to Dinger Tuesday, where he was the sole focus of that Yankees lineup. They just needed to win any way, shape, or form. And Juan Soto's like, you know what? I'll provide it all by myself. Thank you. Back on the right side there for the Yanks.
A big win for the Yanks. The O's lose yesterday at home against the Washington Nationals. The Yankees now a lead in the American League East. We do also have Jazz Chisholm more than likely going on the IL somehow, some way. Our MLB insider, Craig Mish, is a truth seer. Donnie, that was your opportunity. Sources of sources to report the Jazz Chisholm injury. You decided not to do so.
Yeah, to the, I guess was it a shoulder injury? I think he's going down for, but he is headed to the IL, which is terrible because he's been a great force there for the Yankees so far. We'll see if they can have guys like Juan Soto just hit 3 home runs a night. That'll solve all their problems, no matter who gets injured.
Yeah, that certainly will. Another night, another close game decided in 10 innings out in San Francisco between the Braves and the Giants. For the second consecutive night, Travis d'Arnaud, the game-winning RBI in the top of the 10th. He also had a home run earlier in regulation. Atlanta has taken both of the first two games of this set in San Fran in extras in 10 innings, 4-3 yesterday.
Yeah, both close games, both winning late. If you want to say in that wild card race, these are the games that you absolutely have to win. And keep in mind, before that series started, only a game and a half back of Atlanta was San Francisco. Now they sit 3.5 games back of the Atlanta Braves.
And the Atlanta Braves, a 2-game advantage for that third and final National League wild card spot. Jim Harbaugh was going to serve, it was reported, as Michigan's honorary captain for their season opener in the Big House against Fresno State. Sharon Moore saying yesterday that Jim Harbaugh is no longer going to do that. He has decided to stay, quote, in the foxhole with the Chargers.
Guy got punted out of college football, told to not show up here, and if you do, you get a show cause, let alone Michigan wants to bring him back. Celebration of cheaters. It's what we do now these days. Congratulations. You cheated and you won. Love to see it.
I'm sure in the season opener, Michigan will still line up like this and put the fours up for their former head coach to honor the now former honorary captain that is Jim Harbaugh. Tavon Austin, a legend on YouTube and in the National Football League, and his time at West Virginia, officially retiring from the NFL. More news around the National Football League comes your way next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
One change in the legislature in Missouri is that this guy who's just totally against sports betting there is not going away.
This has been in progress since last fall. They got 300 and some thousand signatures. All they needed was 170, but those were all certified by local election boards. That had to be done by earlier this month. By tomorrow, the Secretary of State has to verify all those signatures.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
One of the realities of football in the National Football League during training camp and in preseason games, there is always the risk of injury. You never want it to impact your significant players, certainly not a rookie quarterback about to begin his NFL career. That was the case yesterday with the Vikings. J.J. McCarthy has a torn meniscus that he suffered at some point in the preseason debut against the Las Vegas Raiders on Saturday afternoon. The timetable is a little bit precarious as well, as J.J. McCarthy will undergo surgery this week. And while on the operating table, The surgeons will determine if it needs to be a full repair, which would sideline J.J. McCarthy for the entirety of this rookie season, probably prolonging his debut until 2025, or if it is just a simple trimming of the torn meniscus, which would allow J.J. McCarthy, it appears, to return at some point in 2024.
Yeah, and look, it's not do or die, as we said, for the Minnesota Vikings in 2024. But you would like to gauge this season. It's not really wins and losses. Typically, when you have a rookie quarterback, as we state so many times, at the end of the year, you realize, I think we got our franchise quarterback, played well down the stretch, picked up a couple wins. Yes, we didn't make the playoffs, but the bigger picture is we got our guy. You're not going to have that now. It sort of feels like the Indianapolis Colts, Ben, right? You watched last year with how talented Anthony Richardson is. He's starting this year, but he didn't get very many games last year, so the jury is still out whether or not you think he can be your franchise guy. You're hoping he looks the part and certainly can play that part, but you get that same vibes because bringing Sam Darnold from day number one never made sense to me. Not in the fact that he didn't think he was going to start. You have free agency in the draft. I understand how it works out. But once McCarthy gets to camp and you draft him high in the first round, he's your franchise guy. And if he's in somewhat the same ballpark as Sam Darnold, you would like to see him start week number one. Now, there are different ways to bring along young quarterbacks. We've seen it so many times. And some teams don't have the luxury of having a very good backup quarterback that's been around the block. And some people might even say, Donnie, what are you talking about Sam Darnold? He's a capable guy in a good offense with a very good offensive coordinator. He should be fine week number one. But it's just a shame because you look forward to those young franchise guys getting their feet wet. Even if it's like, okay, you're not going to start the season. We might bring into a package during the game just to get you ready because weeks 5, 6, and 7, maybe that's the landing target for the young guy. But he played so well in that preseason game. We were actually thinking game number 2 in the preseason might be another showcase for J.J. McCarthy. It's just a shame the way that went down. Hopefully it's not the long-term one. It's the short-term one because even as you say that, he might not start the week 8, 9, or 10 at this point if it is the short-term injury, but at least he's taking reps in practice. He's around the team. He's engaged. He's working out. If you go onto the IR, what people don't know about the NFL sometimes, Ben, you can't practice with the team. So, hey, throw him in the IR by week 4, be practicing. He's not allowed to practice at that point. You hope it's not the long-term scenario for the maturation process of the young quarterback.
And I think that's the important part as well. A winner at Michigan, a 27-1 win-loss record as a quarterback, the best we have seen with at least 25 starts in FBS college football in the last half century. But there was a thought that based on the college production, it was a projection to draft him in the top 10. Could he excel on this next level under Kevin O'Connell, who, after the offseason program, the head coach of the Vikings said that Sam Darnold had earned the right to be the starting quarterback as they returned for training camp. In the initial depth chart released by Minnesota last week, ahead of the preseason opener against the Las Vegas Raiders, Sam Darnold was listed as quarterback number 1. So J.J. McCarthy was in that quarterback competition, hoping to earn the starting job to begin his rookie year. You would think, DRS, with the performance on Saturday afternoon against Las Vegas, the tide was maybe starting to turn in Minneapolis. And again, that's part of this as well. A promising debut. J.J. McCarthy played 6 offensive possessions for Minnesota on Saturday against the Raiders. He threw a pick on his opening drive. He has learned Harbaugh-isms from his college head coach. Said after the game, what was your thought process, JJ, after throwing the opening INT? His response, what a great opportunity. Pretty much allowing him an opportunity to bounce back and show his resolve, and he did from that point on. And in the game overall, 11-17 for 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception in his preseason debut. Justin Jefferson was hyped on the sideline watching his rookie quarterback perform in a stellar way in his preseason debut. But it would seem, as of right now for Minnesota, it is Sam Darnold's show. Signed this offseason, 1 year, $10 million deal, 6 years in the National Football League, first 3, of course, with the New York Jets after being taken 3rd overall by Gang Green. Then 2 years in Carolina, last year as the backup in San Francisco under Kyle Shanahan, played in 10 games for San Fran, started week 18 as they rested their starters. Now he's going to be the guy at least at the very start of 2024 for the Vikings. And just one final point for me, DRS, as we tie everything into the odds. When you have a quarterback injury, oftentimes, even if it's a guy that could be the starter for your franchise, it's going to move the odds. But just to show you the odds outlook for Minnesota, the win total was 7.5 for 2024. The under had the juice. It's still 7.5. The under has the juice at -168. A couple of more cents on the under, perhaps, but not much dramatic movement after the news of the J.J. McCarthy torn meniscus.
And even take a look at week number 1 at the FanDuel Sportsbook, Ben. This line originally opened up as a -1 point favorite, plus 104 for Minnesota. It now sits today a -1.5 point favorite at a -105 price, because we're not looking at J.J. McCarthy week number 1 necessarily as an upgrade over Sam Darnold. And also from a betting perspective here, I think this is actually a very good thing if you're looking at it as an opportunity to bet the Minnesota Vikings. No longer do you have the quarterback that's going to be fighting time in camp 50-50. Nobody knows who's starting. You know who's going to be the guaranteed starter in week number 1, barring injury to himself? It's Sam Darnold. Every application of that playbook now will be specificities, nice word right there, will be used for Sam Darnold, as opposed to maybe making up some of that game plan for J.J. McCarthy. So for me, my warped mind, I go like this. Ooh, over 1.5 touchdown passes week number 1 for Darnold? Sign me up, baby. I think he's going to have a good day against the Giants.
I mean, he's back in MetLife in his former hallowed home, where at times it seemed a little bit haunted for one Sammy D, but he is familiar at least with the landscape. Again, the Vikings still remain a favorite in that football game against the New York Giants. It might be more condemning for the G-men than anything happening for Minnesota after the news of the J.J. McCarthy injury. Unlike some of the other fellow rookie quarterbacks that were taken in 2024, McCarthy did not have a season-long passing yards prop. More around National Football League training camp next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
One change in the legislature in Missouri is that this guy who's just totally against sports betting there is not going away.
This has been in progress since last fall. They got 300 and some thousand signatures. All they needed was 170, but those were all certified by local election boards. That had to be done by earlier this month. By tomorrow, the Secretary of State has to verify all those signatures.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Will he play in San Francisco? Won't he play by the Bay? Perhaps might he play at another NFL organization in 2024? Those are the questions that need to be asked as it pertains to San Francisco's wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk. There has been a lot of offseason drama between Ayuk and the 49ers front office. He wants a new deal at a time San Francisco was unwilling to give him a new deal. Brandon Ayuk was unhappy. He officially requested a formal trade from San Francisco. The Niners, to start off training camp, said, we are not trading you. And then about a week ago, they said, you know what? If somebody presents an enticing enough trade package, maybe we will listen. Here is the update as of yesterday on Brandon Ayuk. This from Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. The Steelers and 49ers have a deal on a potential trade, and Pitt is in a good place on an Ayuk contract, which means they would be able to give him the contract extension that he so desires. If San Francisco gives the final sign-off, it's a done deal. But also, San Francisco has an offer out to Brandon Ayuk on a reworked long-term contract for him to stay in San Fran. Ayuk has not signed the dotted line as of this moment. DRS, what's going on with Ayuk in San Francisco?
The charade is awesome, and we're seeing it in other cities as well, where like you avoid not getting fined by just showing up in a T-shirt and shorts and not participating in anything. So eventually, I guess you can show up and say, you know what, 49ers practice, I'll come out for 5 to 10 minutes, I'll go back inside, hang out, play some video games, be on my phone, eat some lunch, check into the meeting, say hello, and then go home so I don't get fined here. That's interesting to say the least. But the other part of it is you have to understand the way the NFL works now. They've been going over contract negotiations probably for the last year in anticipation of Ayuk getting an extension, and it's not working out for them between them. So, okay, I want to get a deal done. I want to seek a trade. They go, okay, seek one out here. But everybody has to know that we've been talking about this Ayuk contract situation, not just with the 49ers, let's just say around the NFL heading into training camp for weeks now, where other teams like, you know what, we could use a solid young wide receiver and make him our number one and pay him accordingly because that's what he's looking forward to. So it was the New England Patriots, it was the Cleveland Browns, and it is the Pittsburgh Steelers. All have come to terms with, hey, San Francisco, we'll pay you this amount, and also we have contracts in place that Ayuk is going to pay more. We're going to pay him more than what you will. So Ayuk and his agent, always wanting more money, sit back and go, okay, we got a bidding war between 3 teams. Let's just drag this out. For what reason? That bidding war should have taken 1 hour by saying, what are your best and final offers? The guy that makes the best offer will be on a plane today and sign that dotted line, and he'll be in the new organization, whether, again, it's the Patriots, the Steelers, or the Browns. It's gotten to the point now, if you are the Steelers, you're looking like you're going to probably wind up with a little bit of egg on your face. Because, number one, you're telling your wide receiver room in Pittsburgh, you're not good enough here. We really need this Ayuk guy, and we're hanging on for dear life, hoping we get him. But also at the same time going like, we offered him more money and the chance to come here and be that number one right away. And why is it taking 36, 48 hours, 3 or 4 days to decide on this? What are you deciding? So all they're doing is taking that contract right here and going, you know what? San Francisco, if you match this, I'm coming back here. And still, the Steelers are hanging on because what we already saw, Ben, by the way, the New England Patriots, they saw the charade like, we're out. Like the Patriots are probably offering more money than any one of these teams because they just need talent. And like, hold on now. With this deal that we have in place, you haven't said yes in over a week. Yeah, we're out of here at this point. Same way when you get like, I'm pulling my name out of the coaching race for another institution, knowing that he's actually never coming there, neither that coach as well. I hate the charade in San Francisco, but you can start to see it play out now. He's going to be a 49er.
Yeah, I would say that Brandon Ayuk remains in San Francisco. What the actual contract looked like, what the figures are for Ayuk, that remains to be seen. Brandon Ayuk, a first-round selection in 2020. The same draft class as one Justin Jefferson, one CeeDee Lamb in that opening round as well. He's not going to make J-Jet money. Could he be one of the 4 wide receivers at this current point that make more than $30 million per year? There are the 5 highest paid wide receivers. That includes Jalen Waddle, who got the offseason extension earlier this offseason, who makes more than $28 million per year. We don't know what the contract looks like at this moment. What we do know, though, is that Brandon Ayuk was San Francisco's best pure wide receiver last year. More than 1,300 receiving yards, his career high. He had more than 1,000 receiving yards the year prior in 2021. His only 100-yard game in 2022, came with Brock Purdy as the quarterback. He was the top target last year for the 49ers, 105 targets. George Kittle, second most with 90. There's a lot of offensive pieces that we know in San Francisco that require a lot of talent. But Brandon Ayuk is actually the number one wide receiver, as strange as that might be to say. More NFL news next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
One change in the legislature in Missouri is that this guy who's just totally against sports betting there is not going away.
This has been in progress since last fall. They got 300 and some thousand signatures. All they needed was 170, but those were all certified by local election boards. That had to be done by earlier this month. By tomorrow, the Secretary of State has to verify all those signatures.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
More NFL news and notes from around training camp. It's that time of year, and we enjoy bringing you all the information you need to have. This is a good one. This is a very good one. Very exciting stuff. Yeah. Couple of great quote tweets of this tweet this quote yesterday. Not sure if you've ever seen the Peaky Blinders, but there's a scene where Tommy Shelby, that's played by Cillian Murphy, is walking around his house, and he tells all of his brothers, the guys that are a part of the Blinders, to not do anything, to not be in any fights. Oh, it's good stuff. And what we're referring to is the Patriots' new head coach, Jerod Mayo, as the Patriots get ready for some joint practices this week ahead of their preseason week number 2 contest tomorrow night in Foxborough against the Philadelphia Eagles. This was Jerod Mayo yesterday meeting with the media in the message that he gave to his New England team about keeping practice civil. No fights.
Look, you don't fight in a real game. When you fight in a real game, you get fined, you get kicked out. It's the same thing here. And look, my message to the players, if you get in a fight out here, if you're a starter, you're going to play the whole preseason game. If you're not a starter, you won't play at all. And so that's kind of my mindset with that.
All right, a little bit of discipline, a little bit of what Jerod Mayo is bringing to this New England team. There will be consequences for your actions, even if it's not a fine or a penalty like it might be during a real game. DRS, what do you make of Jerod Mayo's potential response to any joint practice fights?
I'm trying to log into the FanDuel Sportsbook right now, make my way around to the Patriots, and fire my entire bank account on the under for the New England Patriots. I want to like Jerod Mayo. He seems like a nice guy. You have got to, first of all, the team is probably the least talented team in the NFL. But are we being honest when we're saying if we get into a scrap that if I am a starter, let's just say I'm the Matthew Judon, let's just say, is out there throwing punches. Hey, Matt, you're going to play that whole week number 2. Yeah, exactly. And have, let's just say, a left tackle that's not going to make the team continuously cut you throughout the entire game and not really understanding how, I lost my balance and fell on my knee. And also, players that are trying to make this team, get a little scrappy in practice. Hey, by the way, kid, I know you're a fourth-round pick thinking you can make this team. You're just not going to play in the preseason. I have no idea where this even comes from. There's rules in place by the collective bargaining agreement. Yes, if you fight in practice, I'm throwing you out of that practice, and I'm going to fine you $15,000, and away you go. You can come back tomorrow at that point. Like, it sounds like, and I know people that have not played the sport before, that makes sense. That's going to stop fighting. How asinine it actually sounds, where if you are throwing punches as a starter, your punishment is to play the entire game, which means you're probably going to get injured. And if you do get injured, that means to the detriment of the team. It sounds like a great soundbite here, but when you think about it, it's one of the more asinine policies you can actually have as a head coach. It makes no sense, and it's actually a detriment to your team. Like, hey, if I throw punches, I have to play Friday night. Stop the madness. So the jokes were floating around Twitter and social media going man, if I'm a backup quarterback, I am launching bombs at everybody so no other quarterback can play. And you know what I'm going to do the next week? I'm going to do the same thing. So I can be a backup, a fourth-string quarterback and play the entire game because that stupid rule. Come on, Gerard Mayo, knock it off.
Also, when you look at the quarterback room, New England played all 4 of their quarterbacks in their preseason opener against Carolina. Jacoby Brissett right now is in line to be the Week 1 starter for New England. So if Drake May, the young rookie, were to go out there and get into a fight, would he not play? Or would he play the whole game because of the fact that he is in line potentially to compete for that starting spot? I love the idea that Jabril Peppers, who just signed a contract extension with New England, that he might throw a punch and he's like, all right, get out there. We just paid you $20 million a year. Go play the entire game against the Eagles. Speaking of Matthew Judon, by the way, he is not happy, much like Hassan Reddick, the edge rusher for New England, with his contract status. He is out there legitimately fighting people trying to get paid or dealt to another team. Gerard Mayo's first year in Foxborough seems to be off to a tremendous start. And Donnie, you said you wanted to go to the FanDuel Sportsbook, bet the house on the under of the Patriots win total of 4.5. It is the lowest win total in the National Football League. The under has plus money, maybe some even alternate win totals, or just this. The Patriots are the favorites, or at least have the shortest price, however you want to categorize it, to have the worst regular season record around the National Football League at a 3-1 number.
Yeah, and look at the Patriots, too, at that 3-1, which is actually hilarious because you had 25 years of the most dominant football stretch that you could possibly have for any franchise that we might ever see, the Bill Belichick and the Tom Brady era, to now fall so far behind where you're by far the least talented team in the NFL, and the expectations are so low at this point that you sort of get a chuckle out of it. And also, if you are the Patriots, like, why don't you go down and say, you know what, we're going to take the team for a trip, because Bill Belichick used to love the military. Let's go to Army and Navy. And they said, well, Coach, why are we going there? Because this is the offense we're going to run, because we just can't compete and have a drop-back pass with literally no wide receivers, average running backs, and an average quarterback here. If they went wing T, I bet you their number would actually go higher, so they won't have to be the worst team in the NFL and at least be able to compete. Run the clock all game long, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Maybe that's the way the Patriots can compete in 2024 here, Ben.
Yeah, we shall see exactly what they do this season. We'll see who the starting quarterback is going to be, but I would not be overly optimistic on the Pats. Somehow, some way, one of my favorite betting quirks entering 2024 here in the preseason around the NFL, the Pats have the lowest win total, 4.5. The over does have the juice at minus 150. The Patriots have the longest price of any team to win any of the 8 divisions around the NFL. They play in the highly competitive AFC East and still somehow, some way, have a shorter Super Bowl price than that of the Carolina Panthers at 300-1. Let's go elsewhere around the National Football League and some injury updates. Donnie, it's always hard to ascertain when some player gets injured during preseason or training camp, what exactly the severity of that injury is, if there's a timeline for return, if he's going to practice, or if he is not going to play. That is the story in New York for the Giants rookie wideout, Malik Neighbors. Said he's feeling good despite dealing with an ankle injury. When asked if there was any doubt he would be ready for week number 1, he replied simply, quote, "No doubt," and quote. So he should be out there for that week 1 opener again as the Giants get ready to host the Minnesota Vikings in MetLife.
Yeah, he should be fine. But again, the secrecy of coaches in preseason never ceases to amaze me. When imagine if you shared an update that said, yes, I talked to the trainer. We're getting tests done a little bit later today. I'll have an answer for you tomorrow. And they always just try to talk right over your head. I really don't know about it. We'll check in and we'll see how long it takes.
Yeah.
Then they ask the press, ask them for an update the next day. You haven't checked in. Knowing full well the minute that guy left there, he was probably at the best hospital place / in the world, getting MRIs with 15 team doctors around him with an instant update for the head coach within minutes. He's like, hey, I'll get around to checking on my best player here. Neighbors will be fine. I expect him to have a solid season, but then again, it's Daniel Jones and it's the Giants, so let's temper those expectations.
Malik Neighbors, a regular season long receiving yards prop of 875 and a half. Second most for the rookie wideouts, only behind Marvin Harrison Jr., whose number for Arizona is 1,050. And Malik Neighbors, the 6th overall draft pick by New York in 2024 out of LSU. $10 billion for the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. The Cowboys now valued at $10.32 billion, the most valuable sports franchise in the world, in the first to ever crack $10 billion. So the immediate response should not be a congratulatory salute to one Jerry Jones. It should be, why in the world haven't you paid Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb?
That's the best part about it here. If you're Jerry Jones, you probably want to get a hold of the editor that put that information out and probably paid him a little bit of money or took him out to a steak dinner and said, our valuation actually went down this year. Because I'm telling you right now, when you're trying to get paid and you're in a negotiation where the Dallas Cowboys are crying wolf somehow, and it comes out that they are the most valuable franchise in the history of sports on this planet, and to see CeeDee Lamb sit back there, it's like, hey, we're not under any obligations to sign you, any urgency at all, buddy. Stay at home, we'll find him. This has to burn those guys up when they see that.
But Jerry can say into a camera and with a microphone in front of his face, CD,
high school and
you're
college.
missed.
Yeah.
Not missed that much because you're not paying him at this moment. Major League Baseball recaps from a full Tuesday slate on this Wednesday on the early line. Up next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
One change in the legislature in Missouri is that this guy who's just totally against sports betting there is not going away.
This has been in progress since last fall. They got 300 and some thousand signatures. All they needed was 170, but those were all certified by local election boards. That had to be done by earlier this month. By tomorrow, the Secretary of State has to verify all those signatures.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
A perfect 2 for 2 this week in Milwaukee. That's the story for the LA Dodgers. They won the opener, and Mookie Betts' return on Monday night, 5-2. They do better than that. A 7-2 victory in game number 2 last night against the Brewers. LA was a minus 118 money line favorite. A total of 9 pushes on that number. Mookie Betts in his return, a home run and 3 RBIs. No homers, no ribbies yesterday, but 2 for 5 at the dish, upping his batting average somehow, some way to 308. But Shohei Ohtani, who remains in that leadoff spot, another home run. His 37th of the season, his second consecutive this week in Milwaukee, as the Dodgers have now won 8 of their last 10 games after the 7-2 victory yesterday against the Brewers.
Yeah, I was wrong in the starting pitching yesterday. I thought Colin Ray was the better pitcher on the mound coming into that game, 10-3 with solid numbers. Boy, they lit him up. 6 innings pitched, 10 hits, 7 earned runs, and only 4 strikeouts for him. Gavin Stone on the opposite side, a very good start. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, only 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, and no walks here. But here's what you fear about the Dodgers. It's not necessarily the starting pitching you're worried about. When that lineup is in gear with Mookie Betts back in that lineup, they had 13 total hits on the night. That starting 9, at least every batter got at least 1 base hit in that game. It's devastating from start to finish. There's not many breathers there. And when you start out, Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Hernandez, Lux, and Smith, that's as good as it gets in Major League Baseball, easily beating the Brewers. This is the team that we wanted to talk about a month and a half ago. Wait for the Dodgers. Let's see if they're healthy. Let's see if they make any changes at the deadline, and then go from there. That's why they've been the favorites all season long in the National League, because of the expectation. When that lineup gets right, it can be devastating. Right now, 71 wins on the season. The Dodgers are the best team in the National League.
Yeah, they do have that advantage now over Philadelphia. The Phils blanked yesterday at home at the bank in their series opener this week against Miami. The Fish winning 5-0. Philly has lost 4 straight games after the series victory last week at the Ravine in L.A. The Dodgers now a 1.5 game advantage for that best record and the number 1 overall spot in the National League. The Phils still maintain a 6-game advantage, though, in the National League East. Let's go to Tampa. The Houston Astros on a roll. Make that 7 consecutive victories for the Stros in one of their biggest acquisitions ahead of the trade deadline now over 2 weeks ago. Yusei Kikuchi. He has made 3 starts in Houston. The Astros have won all 3 of those starts. Kikuchi has won his last 2. Solid again yesterday as the Astros prevail with a 3-2 win. They were a road moneyline favorite at minus 126. A total of 7 and a hook does stay under in the Trop, but Kikuchi really, really good, and the Astros have won 7 straight games.
Yeah, called it yesterday, and you know what? They're going to win another game yet again today against the Tampa Bay Rays. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show. But you tell me right now, things are starting to go well for the Houston Astros. How about Altuve, 0-5? How about Alvarez, 0-3? Still winning baseball games? Usually if those guys go hitless here, you're getting rocked beginning this season. 64-55, now tangling with the Mariners, who also are playing decent baseball at this time. But I just line it up. You know, the Tampa Bay Rays had a chance at the trade deadline to somewhat improve their team. Really didn't do that. Now they sit a game under 500. They're worse for the wear. But the Houston Astros playing their best baseball at this point in the season. It's pretty interesting to see. And as I said, even again, Altuve and Alvarez did nothing yesterday, and they still win a game on the road in the Trop. That's a good sign.
You know who did do something yesterday? Alex Bregman. He has hit a home run, as he did yesterday against the Rays, in 4 consecutive games for Houston, and the Astros have won 7 in a row. Kikuchi, in his first 2 starts for Houston, gave up 2 earned runs in each. Yesterday, just a lone earned run, only 3 hits in 5 1/3, striking out just 5. I say just 5 because he had 19 total Ks in his first 2 starts in an Astros uniform. But Houston has won 7 straight. And after the Tigers absolutely wallop the Seattle Mariners at home yesterday in the Motor City, the Astros extend their lead in the American League East. For a second consecutive week, it was Tarek Skubal against George Kirby. Last Wednesday, it was in Seattle. Yesterday, it was in Detroit. And just like the Tigers and Skubal did last week in the Pacific Northwest, they get the better of Seattle at home. 15-1. The final. Jake Rogers, 7 RBIs, and Tarek Skubal, incredibly solid once again. He is going to win the American League Cy Young Award at this rate, his Major League Baseball best 14th win of the season.
Impressive. I actually thought this game had a legitimate chance once again to stay under the total. If you told me the Mariners had one run at the end of the game and Skubal was dominant, yeah, that game probably didn't have too many. 15 for the Tigers. And by the way, did you notice yesterday, Kerry Carpenter came back to that lineup after, I don't think he's played since May. How about that? 3 of 5, 3 RBI, and 2 bombs hit. That's an impressive way to announce you're coming back into that lineup. But what happened to George Kirby? One of the better pitchers in Major League Baseball. 3 2/3 innings pitched, 12 hits, 6 earned runs, and the bullpen came in, couldn't do much better than that. How about that? The Detroit Tigers putting up a 15 spot on the Mariners, man. That's pretty good.
Tarek Skubal lowers his ERA to a 2.53. That's also the best in Major League Baseball, a 14-4 record. Those 14 victories, the most in MLB. 6 innings of work, 3 hits given up, only 1 earned run allowed yesterday to Seattle, striking out 9. We'll talk about the American League Cy Young Award in just a moment, but it's the Astros and the Mariners battling for that number 1 spot in the American League West. The best chance for either of these two clubs to earn a playoff berth in the American League. Houston entered yesterday with a half-game lead. They get a win in Tampa, make that 7 wins in a row for Houston. Seattle falters yesterday in a big way in Detroit. Game-and-a-half lead for the Astros, minus 280. Now the number on the Stros to win the AL West, it was minus 195 entering Tuesday's card.
That's a pretty strong number here. And again, we still have half a month left in August and the full month of September. I don't think that's a bad price to look at the Seattle Mariners, because the one thing you could say to yourself, if you're not loving the Mariners, yes, the Astros are playing great baseball. It's still not a great 1 through 9 for the Houston Astros. There's still a lot of question marks on that pitching staff. Am I saying like, best bet's going to be Seattle Mariners to win that division? I'm not saying that, because the Astros are playing well right now. Maybe that price point is not really advantageous to take, but getting close to a 2-1 dog on the Mariners, only a game and a half back with a month and a half left to play, it's not a bad look. So basically what I'm telling you is I'm not paying that price on the Astros to win this division. I might just be looking at the Mariners here as that underdog price.
I mean, it could come to the very end of the year. Houston hosts Seattle in its second to last series of the season for both teams. And the Mariners at this point have the season series advantage. They've won 6 of 10 games against the Stros. More around MLB coming your way up next here on TEL.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
One change in the legislature in Missouri is that this guy who's just totally against sports betting there is not going away.
This has been in progress since last fall. They got 300 and some thousand signatures. All they needed was 170, but those were all certified by local election boards. That had to be done by earlier this month. By tomorrow, the Secretary of State has to verify all those signatures.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
As we shared, the Tigers hammering the Seattle Mariners yesterday in Detroit, 15-1. Tarek Skubal gets the win. He's 14-4 this year. That's the most wins in MLB with the best ERA in the bigs, a 2.53 number. Skubal now minus 700 to win the American League Cy Young Award. Minus 380 entering the start yesterday in Detroit. He nearly doubles that number in a strong way. 2 games so far this week, DRS in San Francisco, between the Giants and the Braves, in 2 games that have gone to 10 innings, decided by just a single run, and both in the favor of Atlanta. Both featuring that game-winning ribby off the bat of Travis d'Arnaud in extras as well. 4-3 last night in San Francisco. The Braves have won both of the first 2 games of this set by the Bay.
Yeah, congratulations, because this game, too, had 7 total runs, but it had to go to extra innings and also like a pass ball just to get to extra innings. But look at these 2 teams here. Yeah. You take a look at the Atlanta Braves, 1 of 10 runners in scoring position. You take a look at San Francisco, 0 of 10. I mean, talk about these 2 lineups that we told you yesterday aren't very, fun to look at and try to bet and win some money on. They were brutal yesterday, but credit the Atlanta Braves. All you got to do is win baseball games. If you're putting up a couple runs against San Francisco, you will be in the mix. Even though they blew that lead late, still able to get that victory in extras. Here's one thing I do worry about, too, in Major League Baseball. I wish I was a manager. Maybe I guess my team would hate me. But so many missed opportunities. Like if you are and I wonder how they would play in the, let's just say extra innings, if you had a leadoff double, because obviously you don't get the ghost runner on second base. Like if you're down 1, why are you not bunting that runner over to third and just putting the ball in play and tying the game up? It's almost like they don't care. It's like, you know what? It's not worth a win right now because we might have to play an extra inning and a half at this point. It's wild how managers view that, because if you are in the playoffs with a leadoff double, I'll guarantee you right now, Ben, they're bunting that guy over to third base to tie that baseball game up. But apparently, regular season wins don't matter when you're fighting for your life to get into the wild card race.
Which is a very, very strong wild card chase right now in the National League that we'll look at in just a moment. The Braves entered this series against San Francisco, having dropped 7 of their last 8 times were bad for Atlanta. They win both games in San Fran in extra innings to start this week by a single run. The Giants had a chance to sweep the Tigers on Sunday. Lost that game by 1 run. They have lost both of the games so far this week to the Braves by 1 run. They entered that series finale against Detroit, winners of 12 of their last 15. They've now dropped 3 in a row by just a total of 3 runs combined. The San Diego Padres continue to win baseball games. A couple of RBIs out of Manny Machado yesterday, and Michael King was great on the bump once again for the Pods. 3-0 the victory over the Pittsburgh Pirates. San Diego was a $2.50 favorite at home. Make that 9 consecutive losses for Pittsburgh. Make that 5 straight wins for San Diego in 9 of its last 10.
The late, great Tom Petty, Ben, once said this: free falling, yeah, I'm free falling. There's no end in sight for the Pirates right now. My goodness. And we told you, there's losses piling up for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Boy, that season was fun. Everybody now, you see that meme where it's usually like, Homer Simpson dipping back into the brush. Now those Pittsburgh Pirates fans are dipping back into the brush, putting on those Steeler hats and coming on about saying, where is football season, pal?
Where is Brandon Ayuk perhaps as well? The Pirates have lost 9 straight, 11 of their last 12. San Diego, 5 straight wins, 9 wins in their last 10 games, 13 victories in their last 15. They are on a run. So you have San Diego winning games. The Diamondbacks walked it off yesterday, courtesy of a 2 RBI single in the home half of the 9th out of Jake McCarthy. So Arizona continues to keep pace. The New York Mets falling behind, make that 4 consecutive losses for New York as they lose the series opener against the Oakland Athletics. It is true, I was there, and I could not bring the good tidings to the New York Mets. The A's, by the way, have been pretty good. 51 wins so far this year for Oakland. That now surpasses their total win total of 50 from 2023. The A's DRS since the month of July are 21-13. Since the All-Star break, 14-8. Oakland's got something as they look to make the move to Sacramento and then Las Vegas.
I mean, look, maybe the mayor is picking up the phone in Oakland saying, we were wrong. We will pay for this new stadium. This team is hot right now. Let's get back to be rooted in Oakland. Obviously, we know it's not going to be the case, and they will be nomads. But having said this, Paul Blackburn's on the mound. I mean, is that guy a plant last night for the Mets? Like, hey, man, the boys over there, I'm going to hook him up, 4 innings pitched, 6 earned runs, bashed him around. My guy Rooker is on fire at this point. The Oakland Athletics, who will just be, I guess, what? The Athletics moving forward? Tough scene out there, man. Come on.
Yeah, just the A's. The Mets now trailing the Braves by 2 games for the 3rd and final National League wild card spot. Hour 2 starts with Joe Lisi next.